We can be afraid, or we can be prepared. We can be afraid, or we can be prepared. Disasters, emergencies, scary stuff to you, even scarier to our children. Preparedness, emergency planning, recognizing the criticality of agencies serving children, critical to the communities they serve, critical in so many ways during the emergency, critical in so many ways to a successful response, critical to the recovery and returning the community to normal.
Collaboration is very hard. It's very difficult. And I was talking with the Admiral before, just before we came up here. When you're dealing with any of these issues, collaboration is absolutely key, and you can't immediately know how to collaborate. It takes practice over a lifetime, and you have to create a culture of collaboration. And that's what these kinds of conferences do. That's what the Family Community Trust Board is about. That's what these local partnerships are about.
When these things occur, they are chaotic. We're operating under compressed time frames, and our leaders have to deal with decision-making under conditions of uncertainty with incomplete information. If you react based on intuition at that time or your gut, you may be right sometimes, you may be wrong. But the real problem is when you're held accountable for your actions, you can't explain after the fact the basis for your actions. And when I'm talking to leaders about how to become better leaders, how to become leaders that are lifelong learners, I tell them you need to come up with a model or a framework to critically assess problems that get put on your shoulders quickly and then make a decision. To the extent you develop models and framework, allow you to absorb information that's coming in, assess risk, and take the actions based on that framework. If there's a question after the fact about anybody's leadership, behavior, or actions, what you're really talking about is how good was the model, how good was my information. You're not talking about individual behavior or negligence. So not only are you building community resiliency, believe it or not, you're creating a model by which you can all become better leaders.
As you know, FACT, the Family and Community Trust in Missouri, looks across state and local governments, public and private partnerships, and takes a broad perspective and asks questions about what do we need to do in terms of collaborations and private and public partnerships and cross-governmental activities to improve outcomes for our children and families.
But I think one of the single best indicators or proxies of resilience is how a community thinks and plans for its children. As a nation, we've made some progress on addressing the needs of children in disasters, but we really have a long way to go. And our statistics around preparedness for kids is not good. And so this work and the PPN work and our collective efforts together will really go a long way, I think, in addressing that issue. Disasters provide us two opportunities. One is it magnifies pre-existing vulnerabilities, and I think Admiral Allen said that well at the beginning of his presentation. And it gives us an opportunity to think about the needs of children before, during, and after a disaster in a unique way. And that's really what community resilience affords us. It's about bridging the work of people who've done traditional emergency preparedness and response with those who spend their daily life caring for child health and well-being.
Relationships comes first, I believe. I think you have to have those, and we certainly had those in Joplin. I'll share how we built those relationships, and then from that becomes resiliency. And once you have that, you have preparedness. In my opinion, that's the formula. Because folks, we were on the ground by ourselves for quite some time following the storm. Now there was a FEMA representative that came, the federal government came down. Don't get me wrong, they were there, but they were not in a position to help us as a school district yet. And it's not a criticism of any individual person, it's just the way the system's set up. And I appreciated Admiral Allen's comments earlier. I mean, it's really the local responsibility to respond. The feds come and show support. And they were there. They were there that first day. They were there within 24 hours. But they didn't have a team on the ground to help us in our particular situation. And so it was up to us. We were on our own, honestly, for 3 weeks, trying to make decisions based on what was in the best interest of our kids and our community before they were able to assemble their team to provide us the support we needed going forward. And that's not a criticism, that's just a reality of what it is. And you can't wait for that handout. You gotta pull up, put on your work boots and gloves and get to work, and you got to have the relationships there to make that happen.